There's a special kind of human I want to talk about today. The kind of person who sees an undeniable wrong and decides, I am going to fix this. Just a single minded, almost irrational focus on solving this one problem that the rest of us decided to ignore. It's the rarest kind of person in the world. Some call them idealists. The most cynical among us call them naive. I call them heroes. Now, if they were characters in a movie, they'd get their happy ending. The bad guys lose, the crowd cheers, credits roll. Everyone goes home feeling hopeful, even if for a little while. But in real life, there's no resolution. There's no happy ending. There are threats, intimidation, violence, and death. I'd like to tell you that it was an honorable death, a worthy sacrifice. But we're not watching a movie. These people were killed by cowards in Indian cities and towns, on Indian roads and courts and stairwells and car seats and terraces, by low-life criminals, by politicians that stood by and did nothing, by a legal system that has been made over many patient years, deliberately unequal. Today, I want to introduce you, or maybe reintroduce you, to these names you should know. Their stories deserve to be told. From a small, remote village to IIT, he was the Indian dream. He could have gone anywhere. Every door was open. But he chose to work for the country that made him. He was a project director overseeing the arteries of modern India, the Golden Quadrilateral. And then he found what was festering inside it. Criminal subcontractors, substandard materials, inflated invoices, daylight robbery. Then he wrote to the Prime Minister's office. He named names. Just one request. Keep my name confidential. They'll kill me. But the letter was leaked. The people he was exposing found out. On the night of November 27, 2003, Satyendra Dubey was shot dead on his 30th birthday. What happened next never makes the headline. A key witness disappeared permanently. No follow-up, no explanation. Two more suspects died under unnatural circumstances. The case was delayed endlessly. Some low-level arrests were made. And the final verdict after everything? The courts ruled it a robbery. The contractors walked away. The mafia walked away. The bureaucrats who leaked the letter walked away. Satyendra Dubey's family got a government job as compensation. He was 30 years old. He had given his country everything it asked of him. His country gave him nothing back. The guy with the guitar at the college fest. The person you wanted at your table. This IIM Lucknow graduate joined Indian Oil in rural Uttar Pradesh instead of taking the salaries his batchmates were celebrating. What he found there was a shameless level of corruption and greed. The local oil mafia was systematically looting subsidized kerosene and blending it with petrol to sell at a profit. Wrecked engines, poisoned supply chains, and the people who could least afford it cheated most. Manjunath started running surprise raids. He sealed pump after pump. The threats arrived immediately and kept coming. His parents called. They weren't being dramatic. They understood. They knew. They knew the state would not protect him. They begged their son to stand down. But he went back to work. On November 19th, 2005, he drove out for another inspection. This time, the mafia was waiting. He was shot 6 times. His body in the backseat of his own car. Civil society erupted. He was an IIM graduate, so he had a network who wouldn't let it go. They fought for years. Convictions were secured. It felt, for a moment, like the system had worked. Then, in January 2023, the government granted early release to one of Manjunath's killers. Even when you win in court, you don't win. The conviction can stand, the sentence can be handed down, and then one random day, someone signs a piece of paper and undoes it all. This happened in broad daylight in Bengaluru. SP Mahantesh was a government auditor. His job? Investigate cooperative housing societies that give citizens access to affordable housing. What he found instead was organized looting by politicians, bureaucrats, and their business networks. Not small, not subtle, systematic. He documented it, and then, in a move that sealed his fate, he gave the audit directly to the press. 1 week later, he was driving his Maruti 800 home past Hotel Atria. A car rear-ended him. He stepped out to check the damage. What he stepped into was a pre-planned ambush. They dragged him onto the street and repeatedly beat him over the head with an iron rod and a cricket stump. For 5 days, he lingered. Then he died. Across the road from the official residence of the Chief Justice of Karnataka. They chose that location and they didn't care. It wasn't being reckless. It was a statement. The investigation went on to ignore the land scam. No politician was questioned. No bureaucrat was called in. The land stayed in its new hands. They pinned the murder on a cashier with a personal grudge, ignored everything else, and closed the file. The scam Mahantesh exposed with his life was never officially examined again. They all got away with it. Narendra Kumar was 30 years old. His wife, an IAS officer, was 8 months pregnant with their first child. He was running operations against the illegal sand and stone mining cartels of the Chambal Valley. They were deeply connected to the political establishment. On the morning of Holi 2012, he intercepted a tractor carrying illegally mined stone. He was in uniform. He stepped onto the road. He ordered the driver to stop. But instead, the driver accelerated, ran over Narendra Kumar, and dragged his body 50 meters. He was conscious for a part of it. The CBI filed their charge sheet on the killing of a uniformed IPS officer in broad daylight, witnessed and documented. They charged the driver with culpable homicide, not murder, an accident. And the mining mafia that enabled this, not charged, not named, not touched. The cartel sent a message that morning, and the CBI, in their charge sheet, delivered it for them. Navleen Kumar wasn't a government officer. She had no institutional protection to fall back on, no badge, no rank. She was a human rights activist who spent over a decade fighting a violent syndicate that was systematically stealing ancestral land from Adivasi communities. She wasn't writing op-eds about it from a distance. She was testifying against them in court and getting openly threatened for it. But the state gave her zero security. One morning, on the terrace of her own apartment building, while walking her dogs, a group of men stabbed her 19 times. 19. The local MP and MLA pretended like she never existed. Not a word spoken. Her husband was murdered shortly after. The people she had been fighting in court claimed not to know who she was. Her killers were granted bail. The gang kept building. The Adivasis kept losing their land. Business as usual. Amit Jethwa used the law the way it was designed to be used. He filed RTIs, he documented, he built a legal case, and he went straight to the top. He filed a petition in the Gujarat High Court against a sitting member of parliament for running large-scale illegal mining operations inside the Gir forest, a protected wildlife sanctuary, the last home of the Asiatic lion. He filed the case on July 19, 2010. The next day, Amit Jethwa was shot in the head in broad daylight on a crowded street at the foot of the Gujarat High Court steps. What followed was 14 years of systematic witness destruction. 105 witnesses turned hostile. The trial judge requested round-the-clock police security because of the threats he was receiving. He needed protection from the people being tried for murder. The MP, Dinu Solanki, was eventually convicted. For a moment, after 14 years, it seemed like the system had finally just barely held. But then, in May 2024, the Gujarat High Court acquitted Solanki and all the co-accused. The judgment used a specific phrase to describe the CBI's investigation. They called it an eyewash. Not inadequate, not flawed, an eyewash. A performance of justice designed to look like justice while producing none. Dinu Solanki is a free man. The Gir forest mining investigations were never completed. Amit Jethwa's family is still waiting. Across these stories, everyone protected the nexus, not the victim. By the time the case reached trial, witnesses had been killed, disappeared, or frightened into silence. Some low-level criminal was charged and everyone moved on. Where a conviction was secured, it was undone. An early release order, a high court acquittal, an administrative signature on a quiet afternoon. This is not a pattern of failure. Failure is random. Failure doesn't have this kind of consistency. This is the system working exactly as its most powerful beneficiaries designed it to work. They're not afraid. That's the whole point. They've run this exact playbook in this exact sequence enough times to know that it works. The system doesn't fail to protect these people. The system is hostile to them. Now you ask me, where's the evolution here? What's my point other than sharing depressing stories? The point is that these 6 people were killed because they were standing alone. They were what the system calls an anomaly. A nail that needs hammering down. And the hammer swings freely when there's no cost to swinging it. In 2011, India passed the Whistleblowers Protection Act. On paper, it was exactly what all these people needed. Anonymity, protection, security. A law that said you will not be left alone. But it has never been seriously enforced. Its provisions have been systematically diluted. It exists in a way a non-functional fire extinguisher exists in a building. Technically present, legally real, but useless to the person who needs it the most. So let's start talking about this. Let's start making our voices heard. We cannot keep building a culture that calls for more people to pay with their lives without any structural protection whatsoever. That's not a celebration of courage. That's exploitation. The link in the description is a petition demanding the immediate, non-negotiable, properly resourced enforcement of the Whistleblowers Protection Act. Real penalties for retaliation, real anonymity guarantees, real consequences for officials who leak names, who leak protected identities. Sign it, share it, say these names when you share it. Satyendra Dubey, Shanmugan Manjunath, SP Mahantesh, Narendra Kumar, Navleen Kumar, Amit Jetwa. The list goes on because accountability cuts both ways. These heroes deserve to be remembered. They can silence a lone auditor, a solo RTI activist, one honest cop on one dusty road. They cannot erase a country that has decided to pay attention. I'm Gautam. This is the Indian Evolution. I'll see you in the next one. Stay with me.